Ano nga bang meron si Boss Sanchez at siya'y sinusundan saan man siya magpunta? Brother Bo, thank you so much for accepting our request. Dahil siya ay preacher, syempre, hindi mawawala ang altar sa bahay niya.
Pero yung cross mo, hindi yan local.
Oo. I got it from Assisi, Italy. Kasi favorite saint ko si Saint Francis.
Madasali ng pamilya ni Bo. Bata pa lang daw sila, malapit na sila sa Diyos. Pero sa kabila ng kanilang pananampalataya, nakaramdam daw siya ng impyerno noong siya'y 8 taong gulang pa lamang.
I was 8 years old when I was molested as a child.
So, paano yun, Brother Bono? At that time, you were 13 years old.
Ang feeling ko, nagkasala na ako, ng daming beses, naharap ako sa Diyos. Tapos si Lord, mahal pa rin niya ako.
Best-selling author, entrepreneur, at host ng sarili niyang TV show, ilan lamang yan sa mga papel na ginagampanan ng tinaguriang preacher in blue jeans, si Boss Sanchez. Pero ang buhay niya ngayon, malayong-malayo raw sa kanyang pinangarap. Ngayong gabi, tunghayan natin ang kwento ni Bo, isa sa hinahanga ang lay evangelist sa bansa, dito sa Powerhouse.
Our builder and our friend, Brother Bo Sanchez!
I want you to greet somebody beside you. Tell that person, God will visit you today.
Pinagkakaguluhan, pero hindi naman artista.
Tell somebody beside you, God is enough.
Pinapakinggan, pero hindi naman politiko. Ano nga bang meron si Boss Sanchez at siya'y sinusundan saan man siya magpunta?
Brother Bo, thank you so much
Yay!
for accepting our request. Pero bago tayo pumasok,
Yes.
syempre, tinignan ko yung foyer mo. Meron akong mahalagang tanong. Hindi ba baliktad yun?
Oo, baliktad.
Baliktad yata yun eh. Dalawang baliktad na.
Oo.
Di yata ganun ang dapat na pagtindig ng silya, di ba? Sino ngayon ang may baliktad na paningin? Ikaw o si Mrs.?
Ako
Ikaw
nag-isip
may
niyan.
baliktad na
Oo.
paningin? Bakit naman ganun?
Mga lumang silya namin yan eh.
Oo.
Na imbes na itapon, sinabi ko, gawin ko kayang lalagyan ng flower.
Regalo raw sa kanilang mag-asawa ng kanyang mother-in-law ang 80 square meters na lupang ito kung saan siya nagpatayo ng bahay noong taong 2000.
For some reason, gusto ko ng bricks. Wala kaming pera nun eh.
Mahal yan eh.
Wala akong pera nun eh, kaya konti lang. Poste lang.
Poste. Basta nagkaroon lang ng bricks na gusto mo.
Ano yan
Okay.
eh? Yun ang bricks na, di ba galing sa lumang bahay yan?
Okay.
Tapos hinarvest.
Yes.
Tapos, ayun.
So talaga antique itong
Oo,
bricks mo.
oo.
Hindi binili sa
Hindi, hindi.
hardware. Alright.
This one, the wall, I was the one who told them, ayoko ng yung smooth.
Makinis na
Oo,
gano'n.
gusto ko medyo
rustic ang dating,
Yan,
ha?
yan,
Oo nga. Kaya pala, no? Talagang yun eh. Tinapalan ng semento, penenturan, pwede na yan.
Ilang paintings ang naririto sa living area at bawat isa ay may sentimental value. Gaya na lamang ng mga painting na ito, nagawa ng kanyang asawang si Maru at panganay na anak na si Bene.
We have another painting here.
Yeah, it was given to us.
It's a gift to you.
I just want to locate the person who gave it to me because he was the one who painted it. But first, I've not been able to get in touch with him. But he's attending my prayer meeting. Kaya lang
Who?
10,000. 10,000 yung mga nag-a-attend.
Oh, hindi. Kung mananawagan tayo,
Mananawagan
si Brother Bo sa sino man ng nagpintura nitong napakagandang
I love it.
masterpiece na nasa gitna ng kanyang tahanan.
May-
Please, call. O may call ba?
Hindi, alam naman niya where I am.
Alam niya, yes. Please come forward during one of the feasts and stand up to be recognized.
That's right.
Ayan. May nagpapiano?
Yung anak ko, si Ben. Ako rin konti, pero
Talaga?
kulang ng practice.
Aha. Oh, may gitara.
Yeah, we love playing the guitar.
Who is
we? My son, Bene.
talaga?
Bene is a musician. He loves playing the
Wow.
guitar, the
Oo.
percussion, the cajon. He even plays the cello. So that's my eldest
At
son.
ikaw din.
Yeah, I
So
love
do you have
I love the guitar.
sessions kayong mag-aama na nag-ano
yeah.
na?
For worship, every morning.
Worship.
Yeah, we love doing that.
Dahil siya ay preacher, syempre, hindi mawawala ang altar sa bahay niya.
Pero yung cross mo, hindi yan local.
I got it from Assisi, Italy. Kasi favorite saint ko si Saint Francis. So this is the cross of Jesus that nangusap kay Francis at sinabi niya, build my church. So akala ni Francis, church talaga yung ginawa niya.
building, hindi pala.
Hindi pala, the poor.
Okay.
Serving the poor. So it was my favorite icon.
And of course, the Bible is displayed
Of course.
really prominently here.
Yes.
Ano ba yan? Every day?
Yeah, every day we read the word kami as a family.
Okay.
After singing and playing, we read the readings of the day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Ang simpleng bahay ni Bo ay naglalarawan ng mga aral na kanyang itinuturo. Nag-iisang lalaking anak ni na Jean at Pilar, si Eugenio Isabelo Tomas Sanchez, o mas kilala sa pangalang Bo. Nung bata pa siya, pinangarap daw niyang maging astronaut. Pero tila iba ang itinakda sa kanya ng tadhana.
Paano nga ba nagpapalaki ng isang Bo Sanchez? Paano yun? What was the environment in the house? How were your parents, your siblings? What? You think
Yeah.
merong it is a factor?
It is.
It
definitely,
is.
definitely.
Okay.
Family is very, very important. You know, when you have parents who spend time with you and then who believe in you, importante yun. And my parents believed in me and my parents supported me. And they were very family-centered. So, kumbaga, their life revolved around family. My father, of course, had a job. He was very busy as a manager of a company. Pero gabi-gabi, umuwi. And then he would look for me. He would look for me. Even as a 5-year-old, 7 years old, 8 years old, he would look for me. Tapos magja-jogging kami.
Pero
Number
may
one ang
ganito bang mga
anak.
eksena dun sa bahay ninyo? Pagtungtong ng alas 6, baba kayong lahat, magpa-family rosary. May ganun ba?
Meron
May
naman.
meron.
Oo.
Oh, so hindi ito yung type na the parents allowed it to grow in you. Kung hindi, they saw to it na sa tahanan ninyo, sinusunod itong mga kagawiang spiritual sa loob ng tahanan.
Yes.
They saw to it,
Yeah.
ha?
And it was not only let's pray tonight. Let's hindi lang ganoon, pero yung kita mo sila araw-araw nagsisimba. So may modeling na importante yung Diyos sa kanila. And then through example, you see them pag may mga decisions sa buhay, malaking decision, you see them ano kaya gusto ni Lord, tapos magdadasal yan. So kita mo na
Madasali ng pamilya ni Bo. Bata pa lang daw sila, malapit na sila sa Diyos. Pero sa kabila ng kanilang pananampalataya, nakaramdam daw siya ng impyerno noong siya'y 8 taong gulang pa lamang.
I was 8 years old when I was molested as a child. A cousin of mine, wala na siya, kinuha siya ni Lord.
Why?
Pero a cousin of mine, older than me by 10 years, kinuha lang niya, dinala niya ako sa kwarto niya, tapos abused me, molested me, pulled down my shorts. And, ako naman, I didn't know what was happening, I was struggling. Tapos parang, alam mo, your mind has a way of blocking out painful memories. Yung, huwag mo isipin, di ba? Pero yung pala nakatanim. Tapos it happened again. 13 years old, nasa ministry na ako, nagsiserve na ako. Sumama ako sa isang youth group. Yung, nagbigay kami ng Life in the Spirit seminar sa probinsya. Tapos yung youth group leader ko, in the middle of the night, naramdaman ko na lang na he was on top of me and he was naked. And so ayun, I froze. 13 years old ako, I froze. Yung talagang hindi ako makagalaw. And I cried myself to sleep. Pagbangon ko sa umaga, wala nang tao sa kwarto. Pagbaba ko, meron akong nakitang really a sight that's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Horrible. Nakita ko yung leader ko, kasama ng mga kabataan, no, na youth group namin. Nagdadasal, siya nagli-lead ng prayer.
Oh, no.
Parang hindi ko matanggap yun, no, for the longest time. And after a while, napansin ko, eto, hindsight na lang to, ha. Dati, parang hindi ko na-realize to. But in hindsight, sa pag-aaral ko, ang child victim pala, sexual molested child, he can go into two directions. One is, sex is something that he doesn't want to have anything to do anymore because it's so dirty, it's so filthy. Or number two, he will have a craving for it because he thinks maybe he caused it. And so what happened was there was an addiction. I began to crave for sex. And it went on for many, many years. I was addicted to masturbation. I was addicted to pornography. It never went all the way to having sex with someone else. Pero yung addiction ko was all internal, no? Sexual fantasies, pornography, and I could not stop myself. And it was so difficult kasi I wanted to love God.
So, paano yun, Brother Bono? At that time, you were 13 years old. All these crises, no, happening in your life, but at the same time, you had your ministry was, ito, nabubuhay, no? Paano i-reconcile?
Alam mo, looking back, na-realize ko na ginamit pa rin ng Diyos yung pinaka-masakit na nangyayari sa buhay mo, ginagamit niya. Gagamitin niya
para mapabuti ka.
Para mabuti ako. Dahil, yun nga, meron akong addiction, no? And then, I would come before God. And, you know, the Lord has healed me. I really thank God. And only love heals. It's only the love of God. Ang feeling ko, nagkasala na ako, daming beses, harap ako sa Diyos. Tapos si Lord, mahal pa rin niya ako. Tanggap pa rin niya ako. Anak kita eh. How can I reject you? You know, you've done so many bad things, but that's okay. I love you, and it is this love na nag-heal sa akin. Yung pala ang addiction. Any addiction is a hunger for love. Any addiction. So, an addiction kasi is looking for a substitute for love.
Sa tulong ng kanyang matinding pagmamahal sa Diyos, natuto si Bo ng maraming bagay. Ang lalo pang patibayin ng paniniwala sa Diyos, ang magpatawad at manalig sa panalangin. At dahil sa panalangin, nakilala niya si Aida.
Bo, sino si Aida sa buhay mo? Pisahan natin dyan. May Aida ka pala.
Yes.
Sino si Aida sa buhay mo?
Nung 12 years old ako, I was brought to a prayer meeting by my parents. And yung leader namin, ang pangalan niya si Aida. She was a mother of 6 children and very wonderful, simple woman. Alam mo yung prayer group namin, mga 30 lang eh. And she was the one who stood up in front of everybody. I think I was already 13 by that time. Sinabi niya, kagabi, kinausap ako ni Lord. Sinabi niya, meron daw isa sa atin na magpipreach. And he will receive the gift of wisdom. So, yung nanay ko, tuwang-tuwa kasi sinabi niya, uy, pronoun he will receive, ibig sabihin lalaki. Eh sa grupo na yun, dalawa lang yung lalaki. Yung mister niya tsaka anak niya.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
And so she went to Aida and she said, you know, Aida, thank God, my husband will receive the gift of wisdom. And umiling si Aida, sinabi niya, hindi. Ang gusto kong sabihin, si Bo ang makakatanggap ng wisdom. I was 13. And that, of course, blew her away. Pero Aida approached me and she said, Bo, ikaw magbigay ng talk next Friday. And I said, okay. And I did. I gave my first talk when I was 13 years old.
But of course, that changed your entire life.
Yes,
you know? How did your parents react to that?
They were happy. Alam mo, parang manghang-mangha sila. Ba't nagtutalk yung anak namin? And they were in the part of the prayer group, of course, and they were very supportive.
So, ano yan? Jesus is light?
Light of Jesus.
Light of Jesus
Yes.
community?
Yes.
Paano yan?
19.
How old were you when you started
14.
14 years old.
Yes.
Alright.
Yung si Aida ulit.
Ay, si Aida! Talaga naman si Aida.
Oo,
ha?
si Aida.
Daming ano sa buhay mo. Okay.
So, meron siyang, doon kami nag-attend sa prayer group niya, no? Pangalan, Upper Room. Bigla na lang tumawag siya kay ma'am. Tapos sinabi niya kay ma'am, Ma'am, Pilar, magtayo na kayo ng prayer group niyo sa bahay niyo. So, yung ganon, very, very simple. And my mom said, sige, let's pray about it. And then, yun, sinabi ni ma'am, sige, I'm ready. So, sinabi ni Aida, what name should you have?
Ayan.
Dasal tayo ngayon. Ganon si Aida. Let's pray. Very, very spiritual person. So, maski sa over the phone, let's pray. Tapos, sinabi ni Aida, the Lord is telling me, your community should be called Light of Jesus.
14 na taong gulang si Bo nang magsimula siyang magturo ng ebanghelyo sa 20 tao sa kanilang garahe. At ngayon, matapos ang higit 3 dekada, ang kanilang Light of Jesus community ay umaabot na sa 3,000 miyembro. 30 branches sa buong Pilipinas, 27 naman sa ibang bansa.
So from that day on, you were 14 years old hanggang ngayon.
Yes.
Ilan na ngayon ang mga mga followers mo?
We don't have a specific number, but I can give you this number that we call our prayer groups feasts, and
Feast.
Yeah, feast. And we've got huge ones like the one I lead in PICC. We've got about 10,000 people who come every Sunday, and we've got very small feasts like 20, 30 people. So we've got about 125 feasts all over the world. So that ranges from 20 people to 10,000 people. Okay.
Linggo-linggo, 10,000 tao ang dumadayo dito sa PICC para sa The Feast. Susundan ito ng isang worship at magtatapos ito sa hinihintay ng marami ang lingguhang preaching ni Brother Bo Sanchez. Para sa ilan, iba raw ang pagdalo dito sa feast dahil sa pangaral ni Brother Bo na kadalasan ay tungkol sa praktikal na pagsasabuhay ng mga aral sa Biblia.
Maybe some people in your family are sick. Or maybe you're going through some very difficult marriage problems right now. Or maybe you've got financial problems. Whatever you're going through, my declaration is this: God is enough for you. God is enough.
I like Brother Bo because he is not afraid to share his past with everyone. He's not afraid to talk about it. You know, he always tells everyone that even though hindi perfect yung past natin, yung present natin, or yung future natin, pwede pang mabago. And we can be a source of inspiration to everybody.
One thing, unique experience dito sa feast is, as you will notice, that almost everybody's very happy. Whenever they come, they're expecting a lot, and they leave the feast, they're more happier. Kasi they receive God's blessings.
Spiritual healing, emotional healing. Because when I started attending the feast, my father just passed away. And I was struggling at that time because I was believing for his healing na mag-i-extend yung life niya. So when he passed away, parang hurting ako talaga nung time na yon. And when I started attending here, little by little, the Lord started to heal my resentment towards God, my anger towards His failure to fulfill His promise to me.
Hindi lamang sa salita nangangaral si Brother Bo, mas naihahatid niya ang mabuting balita sa pamagitan ng pagsasabuhay nito, gaya ng pagkupkup sa mga matatandang wala nang nag-aaruga.
What fulfillment do you get out of that? Yung mga matatanda na nandun, inaalagaan.
Alam mo, when you sit beside an old person, heaven na siya doon. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, everybody say, today I receive all of God's love for me.
Bukod sa kanyang pagtuturo ng salita ng Diyos sa mga prayer gathering, at pagsisilbi bilang founder ng Light of Jesus Community. Gumagamit din si Bo ng iba't ibang paraan sa kanyang mga pangaral.
Everybody say, I'm ready. Everybody say, I'm listening.
23 taon nang nasa sirkulasyon ang magazine na kanyang sinimulan. Higit 30 libro na ang kanyang naisulat na tumatalakay sa pagpapatibay ng pananampalataya at pagpapatatag ng pamilya.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat sa mga tagapakinig ng Gabay sa Biblia sa Radyo.
Itinatag rin niya ang Shepherd's Voice Radio and Television Foundation para makapangaral sa radyo.
At ang ating pagninilay para sa umagang ito ay mula kay Risa Singson Kaupeng. Siya po nagsulat nito. Ang pamagat po ay Kapangyarihan ng Pagpapatawad.
At maging sa TV.
Hi everybody, this is Bo Sanchez and welcome to Kerygma TV.
Pati sa internet, hindi nagsasawang mag-upload ng daily dose of everyday spirituality si Bo sa kanyang website na preacherinbluejeans.com.
Welcome to our little studio bodega. Alam mo, we started very many years ago. Talagang maliit na maliit, isang camera lang, 2 camera na hiniram. I started it because I wanted people to come and experience, kasi nga blue jeans eh. So ibig sabihin, yung preacher, tao na ordinaryo, regular, nasa pamilya, nagtatrabaho, humahawak ng pera, nagkakaroon ng mga problema sa buhay. So I wanted people to experience that.
Isa si Brother George Gabriel sa mga katuwang ni Bo sa paghatid ng mabuting balita sa maraming tao. Gaya ni Bo, isa rin siyang preacher in blue jeans.
Well, idol ko si Bo eh. So, sa lawak ng ministry niya, dati inisip ko, wow, ano kaya ang feeling na maging bahagi ng ganyang klaseng ministry? It's actually a dream come true for me. Kaliwat kanan, kahit saan ka tumingin, dami-daming mga iba't ibang mensahe na hindi naman talaga mabuti, ika nga, para sa ating mga kaluluwa. Kailangan natin labanan yon or kailangan natin tapatan. Kaya naniniwala ako na kahit na sabihin na natin non-profit organization kami, we give our best in producing excellent evangelical material, excellent programs, excellent shows, na pag pinanood ng mga bata, pag nakita ng mga bata, parang, uy, okay to, ang ganda yung mensahe, ang ganda yung pagkagawa, tapos mabuti pa para sa akin. And that's our mission.
Ngunit marahil, ang pinakamabisang kasangkapan ni Bo sa paghahatid ng mabuting balita ay ang kanyang sariling gawa. Noong siya'y 15 taong gulang pa lamang, naranasan daw niyang pumatok sa mga bahay upang ibahagi ang salita ng Diyos bilang misyonaryo. Halos lahat na raw ng klase ng tao sa mundo ay nakasalamuhan na niya. Karamihan sa mga ito ay mga mahihirap at yung mga inabandona ng sarili nilang mga kamag-anak.
Ano naman itong marami kang alagang mga senior citizen?
Yes.
Pa ba doon?
Hindi ka pwede doon. But no.
Paano naman nag-umpisa yan?
Oh, yes, that was a beautiful.
How did that start?
Inspiration, I wanted to. This happened about 16 years ago. I wanted to love the poor, serve the poor in some real practical way. I wanted to live with them. So ayun, meron kaming loteng nakuha sa Montalban, 5 hectares. Ang mura nun eh. 50 pesos per square meter. Wow. Kumuha kami ng mga donations, we bought it. Tapos nagtayo kami ng mga...
Ang may-ari, sino?
Kami, Light of Jesus.
Light of Jesus. The community ang may-ari nun.
Yes.
Okay.
Tapos we called it Anawim. It's a Hebrew word which means the poor of the Lord.
Right.
And then we put up mga nipa huts. Kasi wala masyadong pera, so nipa huts lang.
Nipa huts.
Nang simula ni Bo ang Anawim, 8 magkakapatid na ulilang lubos ang dinala niya rito galing Negros. Makalipas ang 16 na taon, nandito pa rin si Joel, ang isa sa mga magkakapatid na iyon. Ngunit hindi na bilang isang residente, kundi isang empleyado.
Sinundo po kami ni Brother Bo. Napakabait, tsaka hindi siya marunong magalit. Siguro blessing po siya sa amin dahil ginamit siya ng Diyos na para rin po matulungan kami at makilala po namin ng Diyos.
Sa ngayon, may 50 lolo at lola ang nakatira at inaalagaan dito sa Anawim. Kompleto ito, hindi lamang sa pasilidad, kundi maging sa mga staff at volunteer na nagkakalinga sa kanila.
Parang bahay na nila ito. Ito na siguro yung maaring huli na hantungan nila.
kung hindi man kukunin sila ng pamilya. No? Pag sinabi mo kasing mission works, it's very fulfilling. Kaya kami nandito, nag-enjoy dahil nga dun sa mission na yon. Mahirap na trabaho, pero na-enjoy mo because it's part of your mission. Na mag-alaga, magserbisyo sa hindi kayang bayaran ka.
Karamihan daw sa mga matatandang iniwan dito ay mga kasambahay o kaya mga matatandang dalaga at binata na hindi nabiyayaan ng sarili nilang pamilya. 7 taon ang nakatira dito si Lola Charing, dating English teacher sa isang universidad sa Maynila.
Hi, Brother Bo, right?
Yes.
You will be surprised to hear me. But you see, you have very many friends. And they are here wishing you the best in life. You make us happy around here. You bring joy because of the way you look at us and you bring your face with joy. So God is with you, Brother Joy, and thank you very much for coming once in a while to see us. That's something great.
What fulfillment do you get out of that? Yung mga matatanda na nandun, inaalagaan
Alam mo, when you sit beside an old person, heaven na siya doon. Kasi hindi nga siya binibisita ng mga anak niya. So, ikaw na ang naging anak niya. Tutuwa lang ako na there's these old people that we're able to show love to, give them a home. And I see Jesus in them. And I feel very happy. It's a privilege. It's a privilege na binigay ni Lord sa akin na I'm always grateful.
Inakala ni Bo na ang mga bata at matatandang kinukup-kup niya sa anawim na ang kanyang magiging pamilya habang buhay.
How did you find your wife? Pwede ba yun? Wala kang mga gimmick-gimmick, walang ganun. Tapos you found a woman to marry you?
Yes.
How did you do that? By prayer na naman. Don't tell me, pinagdasal mo sa Panginoon, bigyan ka ng asawa, ganun lang ba yun?
Siyempre kasama na yon.
Of course, you had a very unique wedding.
Yeah.
Ha? Ano bang klase yung bring your own food? Ngayon ako nakadinig ng wedding, bring your own food.
Sa kabila ng kanyang pagiging isang debotong Katoliko, marahil hindi ako ang unang nagtanong kay Bo kung bakit hindi siya nagpari.
So it crossed your mind na magpare?
Yeah.
It crossed your mind pala?
In fact, nung nag-college ako, 16 years old, 17 years old, sinabi ko, anong college ko? Kung magpare ako, just in case, sinabi ko, di mag-philosophy na lang ako. Priesthood yun eh. Tapos after philosophy,
theology.
Mag-theology na lang ako. So nag-masters ako ng theology.
Alright.
Just in case, sinabi ko, hindi ako nag-seminaryo. Yung klase lang.
Yes.
Pero lahat ng kaklase ko, mga seminarista. But hindi dumating yung tawag. Maaga kong na-realize yon na ang tawag ni Lord sa lahat ng tao, pantay-pantay. At pari ka man, o may asawa ka man, empleyado ka, or negosyante.
Mayaman, mahirap.
Isa lang ang tawag ng Diyos sa'yo na maglingkod ka sa iba. Mahalin mo yung iba. Yun, masaya ako.
Sa kakahintay daw niya sa kanyang calling, iba ang naging sagot ng Panginoon.
How did you find your wife? Pwede ba yun? Wala kang mga gimmick-gimmick, walang ganun. Tapos you found a woman to marry you?
Yes.
How did you do that? By prayer na naman. Don't tell me, pinagdasal mo sa Panginoon, bigyan ka ng asawa, ganun lang ba yun?
Siyempre, kasama na yon.
Kasama na yun?
Pero may criteria ako.
Ano?
Ang criteria ko, dapat na yung ginagawa ko bilang missionary at she would understand it and she would totally support it.
Okay.
So I had to find a woman like that. And I found Maru working with us sa ministry.
How did you know that Maru was the one?
She worked full-time in ministry. No? And she's 5 years younger than me. So, volunteer siya, serve siya. And then I needed a secretary. So, she was my first choice kasi magaling siya eh. Magaling. So, tapos nung secretary ko na siya, I felt attracted to her. Kaya lang, hindi pa ako nagde-decide kung mag-asawa ako. But then I had this final retreat when I told myself, kailangan ko na mag-decide. So punta ako sa isang bundok. Kasama ko isang pare na spiritual director ko. Sinabi ko, Father, hindi ako bababa sa bundok na to until I make a decision. Will I get married or not? After 7 days, naging klaro na mag-asawa ko. And so I went down that mountain and then I called up Maru. And I said, kumusta ka? How are you? Ganyan. So gulat na gulat siya kasi I never do that as a boss. You know, never call her up in that way. Hindi siya makapagsalita medyo. Tapos that week, I asked for a lunch date. And again, she thought it was about work. You know, she brought her notebook. And then I asked her, so Maru, how do you see yourself 5 years from now? So sabi niya, ewan ko, maybe married and maybe, you know, and so I had my own notebook. May checklist ako. I said, check. And then I started asking her, and because I realized that my attraction to her was the fact that she loved God and that she wanted to serve God. So I was honest with her. I told her later on I told her as we began to go into that relationship. Ayaw niya. She didn't like me because she was overwhelmed by the fact that I'm this preacher, I'm this Bo, I'm this, you know, na parang ang laki-laki na, tapos she's just you know, parang hindi pwede, hindi. But I pursued her. I still kept on, and finally she said yes, and I saw the qualities that I needed in a wonderful wife, and I'm very happy after almost 14 years of marriage.
14 years.
Yes.
Ikinasal sina Bo at Maru taong 1998 at mismong si Bishop Teodoro Bacani pang nagkasal sa kanilang dalawa.
Of course, you had a very unique wedding.
Yeah.
Ha? Ano bang kasi yung bring your own food? Ngayon ako nakadinig ng wedding, bring your own food.
Eh kasi nung panahon na yun, 98, malaki na yung prayer meeting namin. Siguro mga 1,000 people na. Eh, inisip ko, baka may magtampo.
Pag hindi mo nimbita lahat?
Oo. Kunyari, 100 lang. Kasi, in fact, I told her, when I was courting her, sinabi ko na sa kanya, Maru, mahirap lang ako. Totoo, medyo may authority, may leadership, no? Leader ng isang malaking community. Pero mahirap lang ako. Missionary nga ako eh. Tanggap niya, sabi niya, okay lang. Okay lang. Sabi ko, simple lang ang buhay Tanggap niya. So she accepted that. And so yung wedding namin, potluck. Sinabi ko sa buong prayer group, imbitado kayong lahat. Kaya lang, magdadala kayo ng pagkain. So yun, masaya. 1,000 people in the reception.
Okay. At hindi kayo nagkulang ng pagkain?
Hindi,
sobra-sobra.
Oo, nagbaon yung mga tao, nag-umuwi. Ang saya.
Fantastic,
really funny.
no?
Tapos yung mga orphans namin sa ministry, sila yung entourage, yung mga matatanda na inaalaga namin sa Anawim, yung aming home for the elderly, for the abandoned, sila yung nasa entourage.
Ay!
Kompleto, lahat kami. 70 na tao ang nasa entourage.
Fantastic!
Oo.
70?
70 orphans, yung mga lolo at lola na inaalagaan namin.
Magkarbo mang pakinggan, umabot lang sa 100,000 ang kanilang ginastos sa kasal. Pero inyo, 1,000 ang kanyang naging panauhin. Papaano naman kasi marami sa kanyang mga kasama sa ministry nag-ambag-ambag para sa bridal car, sa kanyang barong, at maging sa wedding gown ng kanyang asawa.
So what are the do you still have challenges in your married life? Meron pa ba yan? Despite your, you know, being so clear about how you want your life to go on, meron pa rin ba?
I'll answer it in two ways. No? Number one, people don't believe this, but in the first year of our marriage, away kami ng away.
Okay.
First year of marriage, away kami ng away. And
baliktad, no? Dapat yun, honeymoon eh.
Oo nga, ewan ko.
First year, kayo away
first
na away.
year. Pero, ang last fight namin, naalala ko yun, in the first year of our marriage, our last fight, madugong, yung talagang ilang oras yun. Pupunta kami sa prayer meeting pa. away na kami sa kotse, sa parking lot, away pa kami, iyak na siya, no, umiiyak na siya. Hindi na kami nakapag-attend ng prayer meeting sa hiya. So, uwi kami. And then, away pa rin kami dito sa bahay. And, ayun, we finally reconciled, no, after many hours. We prayed. Tapos, parang, I don't know why. Pero since that time, hindi na kami nag-aaway.
Talaga?
13 years na.
Hindi kayo nag-aaway?
Hindi kami nag-aaway.
13 years?
Na-realize namin ganito eh. Pag nainis ako sa ginawa niya, sabihin ko na lang. Hindi ko itatago. Sabihin ko, sweetheart, parang nasaktan ako. So siya naman, ay, sorry. Hindi, it's not my intention. Explain siya. Ganun rin siya. Lalo na siya. She's a woman who wears her emotions
on her sleeve.
On her sleeve. She, ano siya?
Sabihin niya talaga
sabihin talaga niya. And I would, so ganun lang. So nag-aaway kami araw-araw, pero 10 seconds lang. Diba? In 10 seconds lang, ay, sorry.
Nare-resolve agad.
Sa dami ng papel na kanyang ginagampanan, wala na nga raw hihigit pang mas mahalaga kaysa sa pagiging asawa niya kay Maru at ama niya sa 2 anak na sina Benedict at Francis.
Meron akong mission statement. Meron akong dreams na 15 pages yon. Sinulat ko yun.
Lahat ng blessings na gusto mo.
Oo, for the rest of my life. So parang dreams, di ba? Dreams, mission. So I wrote down, I'll be the greatest husband my wife can ever have. I'll be the greatest father my kids can ever have. I made it very specific. I'll play with them every day. I'll spend time with them. So there. And I've been, so yun, yung 13-year-old boy ko, simula nung maliit pa yon, made a decision to spend time with him and play with him and affirm him. Na-realize ko na hindi mo kailangan sabihin sa anak mo, anak, importante ka sa akin. Hindi mo kailangan sabihin yon, but all you have to do is spend time with him. Kasi that's the loudest.
You make him feel na importante talaga siya sa'yo. Kasi you spend your time.
Yeah.
Fireworks? What is that, Chief?
Siniguro ni Bo na marunong tumayo sa sariling mga paa ang mga anak at panindigan ang kanilang mga gagawing desisyon. Pero sa kabila nito, totoo ang kasabihang kung ano ang puno ay siya ring bunga.
My dad's a really awesome guy. He's a preacher, he's a writer, he serves the poor, he brings lots of people closer to God, and what he does is really awesome.
Daddy, I love you. Thank you for all you've done for me.
Dad, you're one of the most awesomest people I know, and lots of people, including myself, get inspired by you. I know you don't know how much of a mark you've made in my life and in other people's lives.
Pagiging isang preacher at misyonaryo na ang tinuturing ni Bo na propesyon. Ngunit hindi na raw siya humihingi ng sweldo mula sa komunidad na kanyang pinagsisilbihan.
The reality, a reality in life, that you need to eat, you need to buy nice clothes, you need to buy things. Paano ang trabaho? Paano kumikita? Saan ka kumukuha ng pera?
Yes.
Nagtitiis na lang ba si Maru hanggang ngayon? Paano ba yan?
We want to do things right away. We want to earn that big amount of money.
Sa edad niyang 46 at sa hinaba-haba ng listahan ng mga narating niya sa buhay, hindi pa raw nararanasan ni Bo na magtrabaho sa isang kumpanya. Simula nang siya ay nasa high school, ang pagsisilbi sa Diyos na ang nakamulatan niyang propesyon.
How does one become a preacher? I know how to talk.
Yes.
I love God.
Yes.
But I don't think I can be a preacher.
Gosh.
It's a calling?
It is a calling.
It's a calling.
Dapat may call.
A calling tapos lifetime what? Career, lifetime profession, lifetime whatever.
It could be part-time or full-time. Meron kami mga part-time preachers, meron kami mga full-time preachers, mga kaibigan ko. And we love what we do. We communicate God's will.
So, are you saying here, Brother Bo, that it can really be a career?
Yeah.
Ayan ba? A career, ha?
Yeah.
Hindi lang calling, ha?
Oo.
Pero career, ang preaching.
Alam mo, natutuwa. I mean, I'm Catholic.
Oo.
Bihira ang Catholic preacher na layman na yun lang ang ginagawa niya, no?
Oo.
Pero dumadami na ngayon.
Dahil sa maliit na allowance na kanyang nakukuha sa paglilingkod sa kanyang komunidad, Aminado siyang hindi gaanong komportable ang kanyang buhay noon.
In the reality,
Yeah.
a reality in life that you need to eat, you need to buy nice clothes, you need to buy things. Paano ang trabaho? Paano kumikita? Saan ka kumukuha ng pera?
Yes.
O, nagtitiis na lang ba si Maru hanggang ngayon? Paano ba yan?
Nagtiis siya ng ilang taon.
Okay.
Pero at a certain point, I slowly realized, kasi dati ang pera sa akin madumi, masama, galing sa demonyo. Ang negosyo, wag mong isipin yan kasi maraming tukso yan. That was my attitude before.
God will provide, sabi nung iba.
God will provide.
Oo.
Tsaka, naku, it's better to be poor than to be rich.
Yes,
Ganon yung attitude ko dati.
oo.
Kaya lang nagbago yun. Number one, every time I would preach about spiritual topics, prayer, salvation, the Bible, pagkatapos ng talk ko, people would come up to me asking me to pray over them. Kalahati ng lahat ng mga naghumihingi ng dasal, tungkol sa pera naman eh.
Ay!
Di ba? Yung parang tuition fee, kulang. Brother Bo, pakidasal, yung aking nanay na sa ospital, wala kaming pambayad. Brother Bo, gusto namin magtayo ng negosyo kasi kulang yung sweldo ng mister ko. So pray over lang ako ng pray over. Wala akong masabi. Because I had no idea what to do with money. So that's when I changed my whole thinking. I said, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my thinking. Money can be beautiful and good and wonderful if you do it for the right purpose, which is to love other people.
Pinag-aralan ni Bo ang sistema ng pag-i-invest sa stock market.
My business is mostly online. Lahat ng mga ginagawa ko, ito yung mundo ko dito sa maliit kong computer. At what I do is, I have a lot of businesses, pero yung pinakamalaki, yung aking financial consultancy. I try to help people grow in their financial life through investing. Tinuturuan ko sila paano mag-invest sa stock market. So nagbibigay ako ng mga seminars, naggagawa ako ng mga online courses. Of course, I had to start with myself. I had to learn how to invest in the stock market. At salamat sa Diyos, pinadala ako ng isang mentor para turuan ako. And then because of that, I started learning. Uy, pwede pala, madali pala. Tapos tinuruan ko yung mga katulong ko paano mag-invest sa stock market. Tapos yung driver ko, tinuruan ko. Tapos yung mga empleyado ko sa ministry, tinuruan ko. At yan, I've been able to teach thousands of people how to invest in the stock market.
Sa pamagitan ng kanyang financial consultancy, kumikita na si Bo at hindi na daw kailangang umasa pa sa allowance galing sa kanyang komunidad. Diin ni Bo, hindi lamang ito tungkol sa pera, kundi paano ang tamang paghawak sa salapi ng hindi nagkakasala.
Hindi ka ba nakakatanggap ng mga, alam mo na, pagbatikos dyan?
Oo. Meron yan. Although konti, pero may ingay.
Maingay.
Oo, 99% natutuwa naman sila, na-inspire sila. Pero may 1% na ang ingay.
Ay, siya nga.
Yung pera lang yan, yung gano'n. Hindi nila alam na, wala na ako ilang taon na wala akong tinatanggap sa community. Yung libro ko, yung mga royalty, dinodonate ko yan. I live by my businesses. Pero ang hirap, I realized, hindi na ako sasagot. Nothing will convince people na you just, so I told myself, let them keep barking, I will not stop. I will keep on doing if I know it's
So
something
hindi
right.
ka naniniwala doon sa God will provide, ah?
I believe that God will provide through the gifts He has given to you. So, the most important way He provides is that He gives you talents.
Okay.
Gamitin mo yung talent mo. Brothers and sisters, I want you to imagine overflowing blessings coming into your life.
Naniniwala si Bo sa kasabihang practice what you preach o sa salitang Pilipino, isabuhay ang iyong mga ipinapangaral. Sa loob ng mahigit 30 taon bilang evangelist, naranasan na raw ni Bo kapwa ang langit at ang impyerno. Pero basta't malakas daw ang pananampalataya sa Diyos, may pag-asa ang bawat tao na mahango sa apoy ng kasamaan.
Brother Bo, there are preachers and there are preachers and there are preachers. But why do you think people listen to you? Bakit pumupunta pag ikaw na ang speaker? Ba't ganon?
Can I give a corny answer?
Sure, because I also have happened to have gone to your, and I know why. Now let me see if you know why.
My corny answer is that I love people. And before I give a talk, I try my best to say, I'm gonna stand on stage, I'm gonna hold the microphone, and I love people. Mamahalin ko sila. And that's my corny answer, you know. But I do know that there are people who listen to me because totoo daw ako. Kinikwento ko yung baho ko. Kinikwento ko yung kahinaan ko. And because of that, they identify with me. And then there are other people who say that I just preach simply, and that's a rule in my life. I don't want to complicate things. I want to simplify it. I don't want to impress people about how knowledgeable I am. I'd like people to just understand the word, and so yun lang.
May nakalimutan ka.
Ano?
Siyempre, iba yung charisma. When you are there on stage, not everybody is gifted with that. That,
thank you.
That quality, quality of character.
I am humbled. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Walang-wala raw sa hinagap ni Bo na mararating niya ang kinalalagyan niya ngayon. Ang diin niya, ang tagumpay na kanyang tinatamasa ay hindi sa kanya, kung hindi sa buong may kapal. Ako po si Mel Tiangco, hanggang sa susunod na Martes, samahan niyo kaming silipin ang bahay at buhay ng mga taong nabibilang dito sa Powerhouse.